We have, I've never seen this name, Lizika, Dumitru. Does the New Testament speak of the Son as God? Does the New Testament speak of the Son of God as the man Yeshua of Nazareth, or as the pre-incarnate person being the Son of God, or both? Get my question? I got the question. Do you get it, Sam?
Yeah, well, yeah.
We've heard it before. And so the question is the pre-incarnate person, second person of the Trinity, called the Son? Because I've heard people say, no, that's the Word. That's the Word. He's only the Son after he becomes incarnate.
Yeah, that's what I assumed he was saying. Is the Son something that's applicable to the incarnation, or is it referring to his eternal union with the Father, that he is the Son even before creation? Right?
Yep, or both.
Well, it's both. Prior to, this is why we need to do an entire talk on what does it mean for Jesus to be the Son of God, because there are at least two primary senses in which Jesus is identified as God's Son. He's identified as God's Son, essentially meaning, as God, he is the divine Son who's always existed with the Father before creation. But there is a sense in which he becomes the Son of God, but not in respect to his divinity, in respect to his messianic office. Because, again, I don't know if I have time to unpack this, but God willing...
You can unpack it. That's what we're here for.
Yeah, I'm just hoping the sound stays up by the grace of Jesus Christ with our internet connection. If you read the Old Testament carefully, God had blessed David's household with a promise that the throne of God on earth, God's earthly throne, would be given to David's household forever, perpetually. So that David, when he took the throne and ruled over Israel as God's representative, from the day of his coronation as king, he became God's son. And this is stated clearly in Psalm 89, 19 to 27. So I'm going to give you the references. Psalm 89, 19 to 27. God, in his love for David, swore to David, you will be the king over Israel, and the throne will remain in your line forever and ever. All the kings of Israel must come from your line. Anytime and every time a son of David took the throne, on the day he began ruling over Israel, he becomes God's son. And the term that I coined to try to explain, it's royal sonship. That at that moment, God acts as his father, protecting his throne, preserving him from his enemies, guaranteeing that he would succeed in his reign, provided he maintained covenant faithfulness. So David is not the only one called the Son of God in that sense. And again, to give you the reference, I'm not making it up, Psalm 89, 26 to 27, talking about David. Don't believe me? Start at 19. It's not about David. And God says that David would cry out to me, you are my father, the God of my salvation, right? And then God says about David, I will make him my firstborn, the highest of the kings of the earth. But that was also said of Solomon, who was David's heir to the throne. If you go to 1 Chronicles 28, 4 to 6, you're going to see that God says about Solomon, that Solomon being the heir who then sits on the throne of Yahweh, Yahovah on earth in the place of David, then from that moment, he too becomes the son of God. So what am I getting at? There is a category of sonship that I call royal sonship. To be the royal son of God, you have to be from the line of David and the heir to David's throne. Now, Jesus Christ became that kind of son, royal son, when he became human from his blessed mother and became a descendant of David to inherit the throne of David. So the question is, when did Jesus, as a son of David, start ruling on God's throne on David's behalf? Well, you don't need to guess. Hebrews 1 tells you. When Jesus ascended to heaven to sit at the right hand of the Majesty on high, it is not a coincidence that the author of Hebrews, in Hebrews 1:5, you guys write these references down. Hebrews 1 verse 5, he cites Psalm 2:7 and 2 Samuel 7:14, both of which refer to the king of Israel on the day of his coronation becoming God's son. Is it a coincidence? Those passages about David and his descendants becoming the royal sons of God on the day of their coronation is applied to Jesus when he takes the throne in heaven? No, because that's when he starts reigning, begins to rule, not just as God, but as the son of David. So there's a sense in which Jesus does become the son of God, but there's a sense in which Jesus has always been the son of God. So you have to distinguish the sense in which the New Testament identifies Christ as son. Is it talking about his essential sonship? that as God, he's the eternal Son, the agent of creation, the heir of all things? Or is it referring to his role as the Messiah, the son of David, who becomes a royal son when he takes the throne as a Davidic heir? So you need to make those distinctions clear. But to answer the question, Jesus, before he became flesh, is the divine Son of God. When he became flesh, he didn't stop being the divine Son of God because he didn't stop being God. Now, if he wants verses to confirm that, I can give it to him, but that's just, a helpful summary of what would take hours of teaching by the grace of God's Spirit.